Čujete li me, Emina? Izgleda da ne čuje. Jest, ja čujem nju, čuje li ona mene? Emina, da li se čujemo? Good evening and welcome. Good evening. I would ask you to turn on your cameras. I hope all of you can see me and hear me. I would like to ask you to turn off your mic when you're not speaking and turn it on when you want to speak, and there is an emoji of a hand in your upper right corner, and you should click it when you want to speak. Thank you. I'm Emina Ramic. I'm with the firm Kantar. We will have a short discussion today. There, I would like you to speak freely and openly. This discussion is being recorded. It's solely for the purpose of research. It will not be published anywhere else. Everything you say is confidential. Relax. This is our group. You will talk with each other, and I will ask you some questions. There are no right or wrong answers. Everybody is giving their opinion and whatever it is that they want to say. Feel free to say everything you want. I would ask all of you to introduce yourselves. Tell us your name and something about yourselves. What are your hobbies? What do you do in your free time? We'll start with Miss Bianca. Good evening. I spend my time in school and with my kids at home. I'm a very outgoing person and I like to spend time with people. I have a lot of friends. That's it. Okay, thank you very much. Miss Yasmina. Good evening, everyone. I'm Yasmina. Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you. I work in a sports shop. I've got a 3-year-old son. Spend my time at home, and that's my hobby. Miss Jekic. Good evening, everyone. I'm Natasha Jekic. I'm 39 years old. I'm married. I've got 2 kids. I work for an agency. I go to the gym if I have free time. I like spending time with my friends. If your connection breaks at any given moment, log out and then log back in. Thank you. Miss Jaic. Hello everyone, I'm Anida. I can speak 5 or 6 languages. I'm a CEO in a firm. I was born in Sarajevo. I live in Banja Luka. I'm a social worker. Not social. I'm sorry, sociologist. Hello everyone, I'm Bojan. I'm from Herzegovina. I'm 34 years old. I've been living in Banja Luka for 3 or 4 years. I spend my free time walking, taking walks. I can't hear him. I spend my free time with my friends. I have a part-time job. I'm I would ask you all to turn off your mics when everybody's still speaking. How do I do that? You have an icon of a icon. You click on it to mute yourselves. Mr. Malinovic, good evening. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. I'm Dragan Malinovic. I'm 53 years old. I'm a technologist. I'm I have a security agency. I'm married. I have a daughter. She's studying to be an engineer. I live as everybody else, just like everybody else does, an ordinary life. And Mr. Alexander, I'm Alexander Savkovic from Banja Luka. I'm a military officer. I've got 2 kids. In my free time, I go running I go jogging, a bit of sports. I've got 2 kids, nothing special, ordinary life. I would ask you to tell me what kind of news are you interested in? What have you been watching and listening to lately? What kind of news are you interested in? You can either use the hand emoji or you can raise your hand. What do you want to listen to or watch and read when it comes to news? Mr. Alexander and then Miss Yasmina. Lately, the pandemic is very popular, but I don't pay that much attention to it. The next thing, the elections. I do watch them sometimes, but mostly sports and weather news, weather forecast. Okay, thank you. Miss Yasmina, you wanted to say something? Yeah, I wanted to say the same thing. I listened a bit of news about the pandemics, about the COVID virus, the politics and political campaigns, the elections, the weather. I don't watch sports. That's mostly it. Bit of regional news, bit of international news, whatever I can find on Facebook. So mostly social network. You use social network as your source. But for the rest of you, what do you want to read or what do you like to read or write, Mr. Jide? Wanted it or we are constantly being bombarded with the news about the pandemic, the COVID virus, and the election. Whether we like it or not, it will always find a way to us. Nobody wants to hear about COVID virus, how many people died, but it is what it is. It's the situation, and that's something we have to listen to. Some of it are some of the information are true, the others are lies, the others are no, we don't. I mean, but mostly we're given information about the COVID virus and the politics. That's it. I can't remember. I've heard an information that's not connected to COVID or the election campaign. I don't know if everybody else has heard anything that's not connected to the politics or the COVID. Mr. Radic, what do you say? I watched news about politics and the virus. I mean the pandemics, everything that's going on, everything they're giving us on TV. I want to know what's going on. I want to be well informed. I don't. I'm not. I don't know if any world disaster has been around longer than this COVID pandemic. Not even the disaster in Chernobyl has been so long and has lasted so long and has been spoken about that much. Okay, thank you. The rest of you, Mrs. Bianca. I didn't want to repeat what's already been said, but since I'm working in school, I'm watching the news about what's gonna happen with our schools, with our lectures. I'm not afraid of this pandemics. I think they're just paying too much attention to the pandemics, but I do follow the instructions and the law because I don't want to pay a fine. I don't want to pay a fine. I think a lot of people feels trapped and caged as if we were living in some ghetto. I'm trying to maintain contact and to talk with our colleagues and friends and family to distract myself from this, from thinking constantly about this virus and the election. I don't know how many offers and calls I've had telling me who to vote. What kind of media source is your go-to source? I don't use just one. So, but one source. I use Facebook. I watch news on TV. I try not to use only one source and constantly use it. I would like to add something. I would like to mention one more type of election, the American election. In this past this is the election is almost over, and they are a good example of how good political campaign and competition should look like. Do you think that an election is important for Bosnia? the USA is the most powerful economical force in the world, and its influence it's spread all around the world, and the entire world and entire world politics will be influenced with the will be influenced by the outcome of the election, and we should be included, and we should pay attention and watch what's going on in the election, who's gonna win, and we should learn and how a good democratic election is won. I agree with what's already been said. A bit news about the virus, a bit of politics, but maybe I should have been a bit more interested in the American election, but I'm not. I mostly concentrated on the local news. Thank you. I would like to discuss with you some of our domestic problems and issues. What are the most important questions and problems Bosnia has to solve today? Miss Yasmina. The first one is the virus, then the unemployment. A lot of factories are being closed, people are laid off or fired. The government should do something to help these small businesses to stay afloat. In Banja Luka there's a lot of criminal activity, so mostly how will this country survive this pandemic? The rest of you, what do you think the most important questions are, the most pressing questions are? Mr. Alexander, I agree that the economy is the biggest problem, but the second one is corruption. It's almost, I thought the doctors were the most corrupted, but our courts and police are even worse. It's a known fact how much you have to pay to each judge in each court. People say this judge has been good or that judge has been good. Yeah, right, he was good. Once people get pulled into the circle of corruption, it's over. It just gets worse and worse and worse. Is there anything else you that bothers you, or you think it's a big issue in Bosnia and Herzegovina? Okay. Speaking of international politics, now we will discuss a number of countries and Bosnia's relations with those countries. We'll begin with Turkey. What kind of relation do you think Bosnia has with Turkey? Did you read anything about the type of relation between Bosnia and Turkey? Is it good or bad? Or should we have a good or bad relation with Turkey, Miss Jajic? It's a very complex. Well, it's a very complex issue. I presume your question is connected to the terrorist attacks in France. The truth is that Turkey helped Bosnia, but a lot of that help is dependent on the political basis and the political relations. In what way do they help? Finances, and construction work and built many buildings, financed schools. There is no official record, but donations have been given to Bosnia. Is Turkey an important partner for security of Bosnia? Is Turkey an important trade partner for Bosnia? I think Turkey helped Bosnia more than the Republic of Serbia. Russia helped the Republic of Serbia more than they helped Bosnia. So I think Turkey should focus on the Republic of Serbia in the same measure it does in Bosnia, and Russia should focus on Bosnia as much as they focus on Serbia. We should forget about our differences in nationalities and religions and work together, cooperate to build a strong country. Okay, thank you. What do all of you say? What colleague mentioned Turkey gave a lot of donations to Bosnia. That's I would like to point out. We do not have a clear image of what kind of help did they send us. In what way did they help us? Turkey helped the Federation of Bosnia. There is no actual help that goes over any ministry or same goes to Russia. Russia helped the Republic of Serbia, but there are no numbers, there are no written data about how much and in what way they helped us. That's the largest problem. Not just these two countries, but everything else. The trade with Turkey and with Russia is not very well developed. We should pay more attention to it, and it should be brought up to a higher level. if we mention only the nations, it's very it's ridiculous. We should be more serious and more focused. We also should pay attention to the election, the amount of wealth people have before the elections and after the elections. We should lay a firmer foundation with great foundation with everybody, the entire Europe, not just Turkey or Russia. Miss Judge, I'll be very short. That's some that's related to what I said in at the beginning. Media is not they do not have the freedom of speech. There's a lot of censorship. We don't have any official data. I've seen a lot of buildings that were built and financed by Turkey, but also by financed and buildings built by Russia, by Russian money, by Russian donations. The truth is, the people who are working on the projects will end up having more money than the actual project, which is sad, but that's our truth. All of us have mentioned this issue, corruption, the root of all evil. Russia is a great country, great nation, and they should they should be able and willing to help everybody else. A lot. There's a rumor that Russia will invest a large sum of money in development and research and development of cure for COVID virus. Okay, thank you. What do you think would be better if Bosnia had some closer relations with these countries, or some more alienated and isolated relations with Turkey and Russia? Miss Bianca, what do you say? My opinion is we cannot forget the history. Those connections have not been severed. I do not read much about politics, but I have an impression that the historical connections with Turkey have not been severed completely yet. Very, very often I can read on labels made in Turkey, and a lot of people are going to spend their vacations in Turkey, and a lot of Turkish people are visiting this country as tourists. I don't know how much they've invested in projects. Okay, thank you. The rest of you, do you have anything else to say about its relations with Bosnia and Turkey? Mr. Alexander, did you want to say something? Yeah, I wanted to make a joke. Like Kiki, the shop, clothes shop, clothing store. Like Kiki is a clothes store owned by Turkey, by a man who was Turkish. We have a strong historical connection and relation with Turkey. Miss Bianca has a good point with when she said when she mentioned vacations and tourism. And I do agree that we should strengthen economical relations and trade relations with Turkey. Okay, thank you. Now we will move on to the relations between Bosnia and the USA. Did you, what have you read about the relations between Bosnia and the USA? Is it good or bad? Is it positive or negative? Or is the USA an important partner regarding security for Bosnia and Herzegovina? I think Mr. Dragan mentioned that he is interested in the American election that's going on right now. So, what do you say? What do you have to say about this relation of Bosnia's relation with the USA? Who would like to say some? I'll do it because I started, so I may as well continue. Regarding the Republic of Serbia, whatever happens in the Republic of Serbia is being reflected on us. The meeting between Vučić and the American administration has a lot of influence and impact on Bosnia and Republic of Serbia as well. We do have painful memories and history which scarred us all, but we should move on. We should not be stuck in past, and I'm not saying we should forget everything, but we should try to cooperate and move on, find a new way to cooperate. I'm not saying we should ignore the USA or Russia, but we should our interest should be better life for us and for our kids. We should be friends with all of those who prove themselves friends to us. Do you all agree with Mr. Agan? Yes, I agree. Okay. Does anyone want to add something to this? Miss Natasha, would you like to say something? I agree with Dragan. Everything he said is correct. We have a lot of bad memories and bad blood with America since the war, but we should move on and we should not look back in the past. The life goes on and we should move on and work for better lives and better country. Living in past will give us nothing good. Miss Bianca, what do you say about relation of between Bosnia and the USA? I find it hard, difficult to answer the question. My opinion is everything America stands for and everything America brings is in contradiction with everything I believe. But the truth is, America is a great power of the world, and we cannot ignore that. We have to build friendly relations with them. Even though all the values they they have and they support go against everything I believe in. All these new things that are coming from Europe. Do we need do we have to accept everything that comes from Europe, or should we present ourselves and our products to the world, and instead of just accepting everything that comes from the USA and the rest of Europe? Miss Jaj, you want to say something? I always contradict everyone and say something negative. I don't know how you noticed that agriculture and manufacture in Bosnia are very, very low point. We cannot forget who we are, what we are. We cannot forget our culture and principles. The difference between the America and us is they are financially more powerful. They're much larger. They're they have much the population is much bigger, and they can influence us, and all of us we can be offended by it or dislike it as much as we want, but we cannot escape it and avoid it. Buy and pay, and that's it. People are leaving villages and migrating to cities. There was a man who tried to start a dairy farm, but the government never gave him the license, never gave him the permission. So we are stuck. We have to keep electing the same people to the positions of power. Nothing will change. I agree with everything Miss Anita says. Our country has a lot of springs, waters, rivers, forests, mountains. All of resources should be all of these resources should be used in production. The problem is the politics. We should fight for changes that will benefit the people. The people is majority and the politicians are minority. And we should use this majority to our own advantage and start using these resources and presenting them to the world and proving that we are a unified nation and we can start and start and bring about many changes. Mr. Boyan, I agree with you. The problem is our mentality is the way it is. The only way to change our mentality is when the people realize the politicians and the government should serve the people and not the other way around, people serving to the government. Miss Yasmina wanted to say something. Yes, Miss Yasmina. Yes, we are. Those people is in the majority. Population people are in the majority, and the government and politicians are in minority. And if you defy the politicians and the system, you vanish overnight. We are like sheep. We do what we are do what we are being said. Unfortunately. When it comes to us as Bosnia and Herzegovina, we are a very poor country. We cannot go shoulder to shoulder with all the other countries. We do have the will, and but we do not have the finances, so we have to accept everybody else's technologies and products because we do not have our own and we are not capable of using whatever we have, whatever resources we have. Do you think we should live all our lives just following orders and doing what we're told? Or should we bring about some changes that will be beneficial for the people? The changes that will show people that we can have a better life in this country, that there is a lot of potential that can be used, that we can have some normal and civilized life. People cannot do anything on their own without the government, without the politicians, and the government and the system is, well, they choose whatever is good for them. There's a lot of corruption is very important. We all know who has the advantage. The government chooses instead of the people, and the people cannot fight against the government. If the government changed, do you think they would bring some changes that will benefit this country? If the government changes, do you think we could have a better way of life and we could make an agreement with the government so we could build our country together and change the things that we are dissatisfied with? Miss Bianca wanted to say something. Just one short comment. I would be the happiest if all of these things that are being forced on us, the markets, stores, groceries. We should ignore it and start buying products from farms. That people should go into the country, to nature, to breathe clean air and eat good healthy food. Miss Bianca said everything the United States does contradicts everything Miss Bianca believes. Speaking from the point of culture, does Bosnia share any cultural similarities with the USA? Mr. Dragan? I'm the one who opened this topic, and I would like to give my view. Is the question of globalism and anti-globalism. Trump is an anti-globalist, so people are against him. Biden put himself in the service of globalists and multinational companies. We still haven't reached that level where we accept everything that's not truly close to us. We cannot make the difference between we should know what's good for us and accept only what's good for us and refuse everything that's bad for us. We are raising our kids to have the mentality of servants, to accept everything that they are being given instead of teaching them that we are strong and they should and teach them how to choose the best for them. The IT sector is our IT sector is very strong, and we can go shoulder to shoulder with everybody else. We just have to know how strong we are and be willing to invest where it's needed. When we are able to be to cooperate with everybody, with the entire world, with China, with USA, in every possible way, in every possible field, then we will be a good country. We will be a strong country. Okay, thank you. Now I would like to ask you what you think about the relations between Iran and Bosnia. Is it positive or negative? Is Iran an important country for Bosnia when it comes to security, homeland security, and culture? Are there any Is there any connection? I haven't heard anything about the relations between Iran. Mr. Alexander also hasn't heard anyone. I don't have any kind of information about the relations between Bosnia and Iran. I can only say that I support Iran. And I like that they sided with anti-globalists instead of with America. That's it. I don't have any positive or negative opinion. The rest of you? have you ever heard or do you know anything about relations between Bosnia and Iran? When we mention Iran, we talk about their their security services, but we are we it depends on us how how strong are we or how weak are we and how much we're gonna need anybody's protection. Iran has been for a long time under the America's sanctions and laws. Iran has my support because of everything they've been through under the under the thumb of the USA. We should put ourselves in the first place and then think about everybody else. And is there anything you would like to add? Okay, now I would like to move on to Bosnia and Bosnia's relations with Saudi Arabia. When it comes to also security and trade, what are your opinions? Did you read or heard anything about it, Mr. Aich? Really? The only information I have about Saudi people from Saudi Arabia is that they spend a lot of money in the Federation of Bosnia. They buy a lot of houses and they come here with their families, visit with their families. That's what I've heard, and I've heard that they come here in Federation and they bought numerous pieces of land and build their houses and build their neighborhoods. Mr. Alexander, yes, I do agree. I've heard that in Sarajevo, they are building a lot of houses and buying a lot of houses and land. Also giving donations to religious subject mosques. That's most like. Okay, thank you. The rest of you, do you have anything to add to this? Yes, Mrs. Jaich. There's been an affair about buying of lands in Ilija. Many virtual companies have been made to enable people from Arabia to buy a lot of land, and Bosnia hasn't benefited from that very much, as much as they helped just one person, one individual with this with these firms and buying of lands. It was bad for the country as a whole. Okay, thank you. Now we will move on to Russia and Bosnia's relations with Russia. Is it positive or negative? Should we have good or bad relations with them? Are they important, strategically important for us? Mr. Dragan said we should have good relations with everyone and have something to offer to everyone and to develop economically, develop and grow economically. What what's your impression of the relations between Bosnia and Russia? Is there anything you've read and seen in the media? Mr. Dragan and then Yasmin. No, I'm sorry, Mr. Alexander. I'm sorry, Mr. Alexander. Ladies first, so Yasmina, Miss Yasmina first. I don't have much to say, so I won't take up much of your time. I've heard Russia helps us a lot. Of course, we should be closer, have close relations with them, just with any all strong countries, because they could help us. Russia is well known for their factories, oil factories. That's what I've heard. We should accept all help that's been offered to us. That's being offered to us, Mr. Alexander. And then Mr. Boyant, yes, Mr. Alexander. The affair with the West and Raup is the thing that's it's a hot issue right now. Some man from Russia came here to buy another communist, and Dodik took the money and put it in his own pocket, and the country hasn't seen that money. So it's a bad situation for us. Fruit and vegetables have also started started being exported in Russia, and then all of a sudden it stopped. Again, Dodik had his fingers in it. That's basically our relation with Russia. Very modern, Miss Natasha. We should have it's a positive relation with Russia. We should work on developing good relations with them, close relations with them, and that's all I have. I don't know what else to say, Mr. Bayan. I think Russia is a good influence for Bosnia and for Republic of Serbia as well. There are a lot of factories owned by Russia, and a lot of Bosnian people are working in them. There are a lot of factories where people work and people find employment, and that helps the economy of Bosnia. Miss Bianca. Russia has a strong political influence. We are all familiar with the affairs with oil. A lot of projects are being sent in the Republic of Serbia, and we can see the Russians are buying a lot of things. What kind of affairs are these actually? I couldn't say. I see Balkan as the criminal environment. Okay, thank you. The rest of you, do you have anything else to add regarding Bosnia's relation with Russia? Okay. Are there any country, or is there any country or countries that we haven't mentioned but are important for Bosnia? You personally think Bosnia should have good relations with? Mr. Boyan, I think China has uh, lots of influence in Bosnia and the Republic of Serbia. In what way? China helped a lot Republic of Serbia and Bosnia by sending help, medic by sending help in the form of medical supplies in the following the COVID breakout. They managed to present their medications to Bosnia and the Republic of Serbia, and China could help us financially. They could be compared to Russia with Russia. China can help the entire nation of Bosnia. And they can do a lot for us, Mrs. Chaj. I would like to ask Mr. Boyan to to do something with his mic. We can barely hear you. If you're talking, I need to hear you. I want to hear you, everything you say. Okay, China is a powerful country. We have a lot of powerful countries. I wanted to say France, Italy, Sweden, Germany, Austria. Those are the countries that are important to us because a lot of our people have migrated there. And we can have a lot of help from there because we have our own people living there. Miss Angela Merkel and Germany helped a lot Bosnia in many ways. I think those countries are more important to us where there's a lot of our own people and our own mentality, and they could help us more, and they could send better help to us than the countries that do not know us at all. Miss Yasmina, I also wanted to mention China. Mr. Adic already mentioned it, so that's it. I think China is very necessary for us, and they help us a lot in road construction. It's important to have good relations with China. Okay, thank you. Miss Natasha. I just wanted to ask, USA and Russia, all of them have interests. China is the one who's neutral and does not have any political interests. Russia supports Republic of Serbia. Turkey supports Federation of Bosnia. China does not discriminate. China is neutral and supports everybody equally. Why do you think China is neutral? Not neutral, but it doesn't have any political interests. They don't separate and favor one particular nation, unlike Russia and Turkey. Mr. Dragan and then Miss Chaj. I would like to add to what Mrs. Chaj said. China has no political interest. I agree, everything is politics. And I would widen her list to the entire European Union. We forgot Austria. We mentioned at the beginning the historical legacy, the Austro-Hungarian Empire that's been here. Regarding politics, I'll mention Vucic and surrounding people and countries. United Emirates are not close to Republic of Serbia, but Vucic made a good investor and may managed to get a lot of money and a lot of support for Republic of Serbia. Everybody is welcome as a friend and as an investor. It really doesn't matter is it part of Muslim world or Christian world. If you're going to be good partners without any discriminations. Israel is also important. We should find our own place in the world and should just realize that what kind of people we are and try to make as many friendships as possible and turn a new leaf and concentrate on economics. On the economy is the one thing that can unite us. Mr. Alexander, you wanted to say something? Nothing. I agree with Mr. Dragon and Miss Anida. Since I'm working in this security field, we have enough good role models to make good companies. We should concentrate more on agriculture. Product. I have a plot of land, and in an hour I will be there working, and we all should concentrate more on that. When you when you pay when you pay people to vote for you, nine people will refuse, and the 10th person will accept. We are in the situation that where working is become shameful. My generation did not ask their parents for pocket money or for money to go on vacation. We went out and we worked. Now, young people, our young people now do not have any don't feel any shame. They just go up to their parents and ask them for pocket money, and then they go and spend it in some bar or coffee shop, sitting, just wasting their time for hours and hours, just sitting and drinking bad coffee. Miss Bianca, did you want to say something? No, I didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. Of all these countries that I have mentioned, not all of these that you mentioned, China, France, Switzerland, but the countries that I have mentioned, which one, in your opinion, is the most important partner for Bosnia? The USA, Turkey, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Russia. From all these five, who is the most important in your opinion? I think the European Union is important for us, with Germany in the lead, but nobody from the not one from all these countries that I've mentioned. European Union is the most important economical partner for us. So I want to say these countries that are geographically closer to us than countries from the other continent. Regarding China, the Chinese said you cannot extinguish a fire with the water that's far, far away. We should concentrate on our own environment. Republic of Serbia and Federation of Bosnia. What can we do in our building, in our community, and further on? Okay, thank you. The rest of you, do you have anything to say? It's Mr. Alexander, yes. From all these countries that you've mentioned, the USA. It's not my choice, it's the world's choice. And regarding working on our community, I agree, and I would like if people would get more involved in the local issues and local things and local government instead of the country's government. Follow concentrating on the country's government, and I do agree with Dragan about the economical aspect and the European Union and people in Austria and Germany, Switzerland are very important to us, and we also should use all of our resources to their full potential. This is Mina. Is there anything what do you think? Who is the most important partner from all of these countries that I've mentioned? I think America can help us the most in everything. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Natasha. What's your opinion? Our closest neighbors and then Russia. Mr. Boyan, what do you say? I would agree with Natasha. It's Russia. Russia is a great country, can do a lot to help Bosnia. Okay, thank you. Miss Jajic. I'd agree with Dragan and Alexandra completely. I share their opinion. Currently, Russia is helping in one of the projects, and that's why I will support it. But I completely agree with Dragan and Alexander. Okay, thank you, Miss Bianca. What do you say? I'll say it again. I am not interested in the international politics, and I remember the time when Russia was a very weak country, when they fell apart, and look at it now. It's one of the strongest powers and strongest countries in the world. And again, I'll say that Americans' values are going against. I do not like them at all. Okay, we're coming to an end of our session. We've had a very interesting discussion. I would like you to add anything that you think is important, or that's something we forgot to mention but you would really like to say. Something like a finishing touch. We'll start with Miss Yasmina. Is there anything you think that we should have asked, a question that we should have asked, or something you're interested in? Or something you just think we should have mentioned today? I can't think of anything in the moment. Okay. What did you like our today's discussion? Did you find it interesting? Do do you want to add anything? I liked very much. The time flew just passed by very quickly, and I could talk for for a little longer. Our government is the way it is. We cannot fight it, and we just have to bear with it. I'm really hoping that we'll have more donations, and the foreign countries will help us for the sake of our own children and our own future, because our own situation in in this country is not great, and I'm very disappointed with everything. We haven't mentioned in detail the situation in our own country. I'm not satisfied with the situation, but I want more donations. Miss Natasha. It was really nice and great to to talk to you and to spend time with you. This is my first time in this kind of discussion. I would like to greet you all. Yeah, I wanted to give ladies first, and then everybody else, and then you guys, Miss Bianca. Just wanted to greet all of my colleagues who are here talking to us, all the participants. These are interesting topics, but I do not, I'm not, I do not think about them a lot. I do not read about them. I'm not personally interested in them, and I wonder why is this country the way it is? Why do we have a government that does not function as a government should? Alexander said, "Do more for community." Maybe that's not a bad idea. We should improve our environment and our community. Regarding the topics, there's a lot of depressing topics like poverty, the famine, abandoned children, online, these online classes. There are a lot of topics that can be discussed, but Miss Chaj, okay, thank you very much for this great discussion or conversation, whatever. I'm glad that I have there are people who share my opinions, the topics the way they are, negative and quite delicate. I hope we will meet next time with a better topic. But that's the truth, and however bitter it may be. Thank you very much. Mr. Dragan, thank you very much. I would like to add to what my colleagues said. I would like to ask to mention continuity. That's something we forgot to mention when we're talking about the nations. Yeah, okay, good. I'm not against them, but let's see if we can do anything without those donations. If we can do something on our own. I've mentioned China and Japan. When you when they say if you want to feed a man for a day, give him fish, but if you want to feed him for life, teach him to fish. We have Sun Tzu and the Art of War. They, they've put all of their wisdom in some 70 or 80 pages. Let's keep continuity. Let's fight for peace for our kids, for our next generations, and let's hope that these next generations will overcome all of these obstacles that we've had to face, and that they will turn to the most important values. Thank you very much, Mr. Bayan. I like this discussion very much, and I'm glad and I'm happy that I could could be a part of this. The people should unite and fight against this corrupted government. We should fight the corruption and give the people a better life. And provide them a normal, positive life. We don't have to see how people is struggling, how they're desperate. We should fight against this corrupted government. Thank you very much, Mr. Alexander. I personally did not find the topic very interesting, but the conversation was interesting, and I'm glad I've talked to all of these people. I've talked to all of these people. I'm against the donations, and I'm more for our own work. These donations, especially after the war, for the refugees, people stole all of that. When America and US showed the data how much they've invested in Bosnia, but all of that money is gone. If you have some better topics, call us again. Call me again. I'll participate. Thank you very much. It's been a really great conversation. Thank you for participating. To somebody sometime today, one of the colleagues will call you for about the gift cards. Thank you again, and good night to all. Good night, good night, good night. Goodbye. Goodbye. The end.